recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on April 20. What is today's date? April 25th to hit the internets on April 26th. How is everybody? Very busy show. Very busy show. The best place to find all of these very, very busy shows or not so busy shows is on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and maybe Google Play. I should probably find that out. But how's everyone doing? It's another week. May is almost here, so that's good, right? I guess. There's sometimes I do the podcast and I'm like, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. This week was exactly the opposite. I have so much shit to get to that I'm not even probably be able to get to half of it. But I'll try my best. I actually we have a special guest. We recorded a few days ago, but Brian Schmitz of the Orlando Sentinel will give us a few minutes regarding that 30 for 30 the other day, this magic moment, regarding the Orlando Magic with Shaq and Penny, and what could have been. Oh, what could have been. And well, we got the normals to go over here. We got a little politics, right? Because it's getting down to the nitty gritty. Can we just stop the bullshit and just let's get to Hillary and Trump and start the show going? I want to hear the real mudslinging now. Come on, enough is enough with John Kasick and Trump talking about how their eating is disgusting. Enough. And we have the baseball. We'll keep it local today. Yankees stink. They're terrible. Chase Headley, just resign. Do us all a favor and resign. And of course, NFL always making news. But you know what? Let's start. Oh, and the passing of Prince. We'll get to that. Let's start with the NFL. The big news, and that's Deflategate continues. The saga continues. Wu-Tang. It's Deflategate, and the decision has been reversed. Tom Brady is to serve his 4-game suspension, and a court. Yes, well, that's what we do. I was looking for the official term here. Fuck you, CNN, and your private terms and have changed. I don't give a shit. Let me move this microphone here. This podcast is off to a great start, huh? The Judge Denny Owen and Barrington Parker ruled in favor of the league, while Chief Judge Robert A. So it was 2-1 in the United States Court of Appeals. The Second Circuit ruled today that the NFL did everything right, but the other court said they didn't do everything right. And says that Tom Brady, New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, must serve his 4-game suspension. Now, they're saying that, Goodell hasn't actually said and hasn't spoken about this case since the Super Bowl that, even if the league won, if he would serve the suspension, he most likely will. But wouldn't it be real sticking it in, being like, you know what? We won, bitch. But, you don't have to serve the suspension. But just remember, we won. I'm going to be a nice guy and let you play. But we won. I doubt that'll happen, but would be something. That'd be quite interesting. This story, you'll hear the New England Patriots fans act as if some sort of civil rights violation has been has occurred because this is being overturned. I'm going to take the same case that I always have with this. Tom Brady most likely was involved. However, the Wells report did nothing to say that it was a lot of circumstantial evidence. It was a lot of hypothetical. What may have happened, most likely, probably. There was no definitive evidence other than, and this wasn't even really evidence. It was Tom Brady smashing a cell phone, which is this sort of smoking gun in all of this to a certain extent, maybe. But again, I think he did deflate the balls, and I think a lot of quarterbacks do it, but the NFL never had the evidence to do it. But according to these judges, they do. Now, it doesn't look like this is going to be appealed because this is going to have to practically go to the Supreme Court, and they have their own issues right now. They only have 8 judges. And frankly, I think they should be dealing with a little more important stuff than, air deflated out of footballs. That's just me. But Donald Trump, he doesn't like, he weighed in on the issue. Presidential hopeful Donald Trump, because he doesn't like when you pick on Tom.
Leave Tom Brady alone. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's a great guy.
That's all we need. Worlds colliding there. Worlds colliding. Trump and Tom Brady. That's all we need on a certain day. Well, what's next? Ted Cruz lookalikes doing porn movies? All right. I guess we'll get back to the NFL. I don't want to jump right into the NFL because the other stuff isn't really as pressing, so to speak. what I wanted to talk about was we can get into the politics, like I said. So Donald Trump already gave us his thoughts on the Tom Brady fiasco and how we should be nicer to Tom. I didn't hear the whole clip. All I heard was that clip that I just played you. Leave Tom alone. So in New Haven this week, because the entire world revolves around New Haven in my world. So what happened was don't look at Twitter as I'm doing this. What happened? Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, as we speak, as I'm doing this podcast, is like a mile away from me speaking. I wanted to go, but then I saw the line. I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe there wouldn't be a line. Brian, it's a former president talking. Like there isn't going to be a line. I know. I'm not really sure what I was thinking, but I didn't go. I feel I should have gone, right? I feel like a scumbag. I mean, that's Bill Clinton there. And I just decided, I'm too lazy. Let me go do a podcast where I just ramble. Something like that. But I didn't say so. I drove by Bernie Sanders' rally on Sunday night, and he didn't speak till like 7. They're already lined up at 1 o'clock. I wasn't getting down on that. So I just to see some of this information, because for once, wherever you live, you feel important that all these people running for president are going to be in your town, in your turf, and well, they're just there pandering for votes. We all know that, but you kind of forget it for a second. Okay, so anyways, what I wanted to talk about is John Kasick and Ted Cruz have decided that they're going to team up to take out Donald Trump, and Trump said it was pathetic. And so the new thing today is Trump is attacking John Kasick the way he eats, like an animal. I'm not sure what spawned this. Maybe it wasn't a tweet. Excuse me, it was at some alliance with unholy Ted Cruz. Let's just play it. But with this, what happened was Trump sent out a tweet.
Kasick, I don't think he knows what. Did you see him? He has a news conference all the time when he's eating. I have never seen a human being eat in such a disgusting fashion. I'm always telling my young son, Barron, I'm saying, and I always with my kids, all of them, I'd say, children, small little bites, small. This guy takes a pancake and he's shoving it in his mouth. It's disgusting. Do you want that for your president? I don't think so.
Oh, God. Kasich responded with something about Trump steaks. I don't know. I don't think it was as good, but. So that's where we're at right now. But it gets even worse. Yes, it can get even worse in criticizing people's eating. So let's jump into this story that it's a few days old at this point right now, but maybe you haven't heard about it. So the television show that defines us all, defines a generation, the Maury Povich Show, I don't even know what the topic of the show was. Let's see here. But the main thing is that a woman was on, and she was a spitting image of Republican candidate Ted Cruz. And that is Cirque Hayes, an unknown 21-year-old from Natchez, Mississippi. And she got so much attention. She went on the show after her fiance accused her of cheating on him. Okay. All was revealed in typical Maury fashion when she passed a lie detector test and DNA. Oh, well, it was a happy Maury. Well, she passed the lie detector test. Usually you don't pass those. That's like 1 in like 15 shows where they pass the lie detector test. Those fucking green rooms, too. Don't screw around in the green room. But what happened was she got so much acclaim. She got so much attention for looking like Ted Cruz that a porn site offered her $10,000 to make a sex tape. And obviously, when you get that kind of attention, when you get attention as a female that you look like a male that is a creepy-looking male in Ted Cruz, you take it. You get that offer, you take it. So obviously, she's a big political person. So they said she'd never heard of Cruz. Before the resemblance was pointed out. I don't know his positions, and I've never seen him, so I don't know if he's done a good enough job to be reelected. Well, we all know he's not the president, so that's a tough one. She said, yeah, I don't know anything about him, and she did a special Facebook interview with Maury. Wow, that's when you know you've hit it big, a special Facebook interview. And let's see. the porn site said X-Hamster said we wanted Sirki because overnight she just became a viral meme. I think a lot of X-Hamster viewers really want to see her in action. Why would that many people want to see a woman who looks like Ted Cruz have sex on camera? And no disrespect to Mrs. Hayes, Mrs. Hayes. I mean, she's not an attractive woman either. She's not really your prototypical person that you want to see having sex on camera. And do any of you want to see the real Ted Cruz do it? And her husband, he's a fucking gem. Well, first she said, I'm with it because everything is going to support my family. I want to get my son everything he needs, yada, yada, yada. So the husband or boyfriend, doesn't matter. We want to buy a truck, obviously. Pay off our house, and we might even get married. Okay, so it's a boyfriend. I never had anyone say, here's $10,000, go make a sex tape. And he said, it's kind of exciting and shocking to know she's famous. She's more famous than Madonna. I'm with a star. Talk about a guy living in the 80s. More famous than Madonna? Is that the first person that comes to mind? Madonna! Before the couple can collect, this is according to Huffington Post, before the couple can collect the money, they first have to make the sex tape. Currently, Green is doing his part by Googling terms like how to make a sex tape on an iPhone. So, that's where we come with this election. Criticizing eating. He's disgusting the way he eats. You don't want a president that eats like that. And Ted Cruz lookalikes are desired porn participants. That's where we are in 2016. This is your America. And the other real quick thing, and then we'll get the hell out of politics, because we got stuff to do. I'm talking about how busy it is, and I'm sitting there laughing to myself as if everything's just so goddamn funny. The other thing was a school in, let's see, where the hell was this? Austin, Texas, decided that they want to rename their school. And what they did was, I think they made it, they said, hey, we're taking suggestions. So they asked the community. And obviously they're not Simpsons fans, because Principal Skinner did this, and they renamed the gymnasium the Butthead Memorial Gymnasium, and he regrets it every day. So I don't know what they were thinking, but let's see. The top 10 renaming recommendations, sorted by most nominated, are Donald J. Trump Elementary. Number 2, Robert E. Lee. Russell Lee. Harper Lee. I don't know these other people. Number 7, this had 8 nominations. Number 7. This has to be the same person. Adolf Hitler's School for Friendship and Tolerance, and some other ones that I don't know. And then a lot of just, Jesus, this is kind of rough here. Adam Lanza's School of Fun. I mean, why are they even putting this shit out here? Bodie McBoatface Elementary School. I kind of like that. Forgetting the past dooms you to repeat it elementary. Hypothetical Perfect Person Memorial Elementary School. Schoolie McSchoolerson. This sounds like all the same person. And of course, John Cena Elementary. I mean, you can't see that, right? You get it, right? Get it. So that's where we are in politics right now. Let's move on to some sports. SPORTS, right? Sports. That's what we like. So let's jump into the NFL real quick, and we'll get going with that. We already talked about Deflategate. Josh Norman had his franchise tag rescinded, and he was a bit blindsided. This just came out now that he heard about it, ran back to the Panthers, and said, no, I'll do anything you want. And they said, kick rocks. You're out. I was going to say pound sand, kick rocks. Don't ever really use either of those terms, so I don't know why they would really fit in to the podcast, but I try to sound hip. It's a very big problem I have. I'm always trying to sound hip, and it's usually falling flat on my face. But he's got guaranteed money. I think it's $50 million, something like that. And he gets to play Odell Beckham twice a year, so that should be interesting. I like seeing that. That'll be interesting to see twice a year, right? It probably won't. It won't live up to that game at all, and we're all like, yeah, I can't wait to see him play, and it'll be just an enormous disappointment. Why do I feel like that? That's exactly what's going to happen. So anyways, let's see where we are right now. What was the other NFL stuff I wanted to get to? Yeah, just the Eagles. The Eagles, I don't know what they're doing. So we all know that they fired Chip Kelly. They then signed their backup to the richest backup. The name is escaping me, the gentleman's name. They signed the backup to the richest contract ever. He's making like $10 million a year. And, of course, they made that trade that they have the second pick in the draft, and presumably they want a quarterback. I think it's basically they've come out and said it. I don't even know if it's presumably now. So now, what a just shit show, that organization. And remember everyone thought it was Chip Kelly? I think there's a little more to it than just Chip Kelly. And now Sam Bradford, who has just stolen money over the years, has never made the playoffs, never had a winning record, and now wants to be traded. Yes, traded. Because he doesn't want to compete with either Carson Wentz or Aaron Goff. Listen, Sam Bradford, you're not that good. And frankly, you look like a chimp. I'm sorry, it's true. He's got those, I'll take that back. He doesn't look like a chimp. He looks like a wrestler. He's got those cauliflower ears and that face as if he was, a lot of high school wrestling, I bet. Actually, he's probably the starting quarterback. But the gall on him. Dude, who the hell do you think you are? Just because you made a lot of money and you've never done anything. Compete. Make them look stupid and say, I am doing this. Just do it. Do it, damn it. Do it. So what's everyone drinking on today? I actually have some quality beer this week. No more PBR, no more Bud Light, Coors Light, all that shit. So I got a can of swag every day of the week. Is a summer wheat ale from the Black Hog Brewery in Oxford, Connecticut, which produces some amazing beer. Their Disco Pig is to die for. Sorry. But the Swag Summer Wheat Ale, it is a wheat ale brewed with grapefruit peel and sage. And I know some of you are rolling your eyes saying, oh, God, just give me something straight up and just pour it in a glass and I'll drink it and it'll burn and I'll feel like a man. Listen, it tastes good. What do you want me to do? I like it. It tastes good. Let's say. Yes, I like it. And if you're into just chilling, it's not one of those beers that are like 10, 11% too. It's a 4.7. So it's your standard Coors Light, shit beer kind. So indulge, enjoy, all of that. So, before we get into the NBA, let's bring in when I talked to Brian Schmitz of the Orlando Sentinel the other day, just about what was expected of that team way back when, and going forward, he wants to bring somebody back that, is that really a good move? Because I don't know about that. So let's listen to it. He is a columnist for the Orlando Sentinel. His name is Brian Schmitz. Brian, welcome to the Red Ticket Blues podcast. How are you?
Hey, great to be with you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So let's jump into this here. I got to ask you straight up. When Penny and Shaq beat the new Michael Jordan, came back in 95, be honest, how many championship parades did you think you'd be going to in the city of Orlando?
I think we might be going to at least a couple because there was nobody in the league who could guard Shaq. And as we found out, Penny Hardaway was an absolutely terrific player. I think he was always overshadowed by Shaq. But if you look at that footage, you're just blown away with the things he could do at 6'7" point guard. So, and then with Horace Grant really completing the team, giving them a tough veteran rebounder at the power forward position who could make a mid-range jump shot. That team was set up for, together for 10 years, I would guess at least 2, maybe 3 titles.
It's tough to look back on, I'm sure. You've been at the Sentinel since 1975. You've been around the area, and this was discussed in the 30 for 30 you appeared in, This Magic Moment. Now, basketball was brought to this area, and it looked like, eventually everyone jumped on board. But what was the initial reaction when people said, hey, basketball's coming? What did Central Florida think of that?
Well, it was football country, and
exactly.
Orlando was basically a sports graveyard. We had pro wrestling, some boxing, some fly-by-night football teams. But really, other than that, it was college football. You had to go to Gainesville or Tallahassee or Tampa, and the Bucks were horrendous. So in 1989, it was a head scratcher when Jim Hewitt, a local businessman, came up with this, what we thought was a harebrained idea. No one thought that it would fly, that the NBA would ever come to Orlando, let alone Florida. So yeah, I mean, it was very, it wasn't something that anybody had dreamed of.
Yeah, but it did catch on, and when you had Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway there, you have two different personalities, to say the least. I mean, still to this day, Shaq's giving sound bites for everyone in media, even being part of the media. But when it came for you or anyone covering the Magic at that time, who helped the most? I mean, who gave you the most interesting material, the best way that people could do their jobs?
Well, Shaq was a showman.
Right.
And we found out even in his rookie season that he was the guy that you would go to for something funny, something clever, not so much for really basketball stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
He didn't really want to talk about that. Penny Hardaway was just a really more introspective than Shaq. And when you got Penny going, he could expound on a lot of subjects. He was very emotional, just as Nick Anderson was. And of course, you throw in Dennis Scott and Horace Grant. I mean, these two guys, they'll talk your ear off, and Dennis Scott you can see on TV every night now. So it was really a dream team for a writer.
When there's this one thing in the documentary that I really found interesting, and I wasn't aware of it. I was younger at the time, but it was the poll at the Sentinel that really annoyed Shaquille O'Neal. That said, the fans took part in it and said that maybe he should walk when he wanted 7 seasons, $150 million. You recently wrote about that poll and what it did. Is that poll still talked about in the community or even in your office at the Sentinel?
Not so much in the office, because there's nobody really except me left from that era where the newspaper industry is shrinking. But in town for longtime Magic fans, yes, it's still a point of contention. The fans who really don't get it, I think, they still blame the newspaper for helping run Shaq out of town when actually Shaq and his people were smart enough to use this as an out. To use this after the Magic lowballed them in contract talks, so he could point to the Sentinel poll. It was 5,000 people. I mean, you could have. It wasn't a really greatly worded poll. I think we probably would want to do that over, because I don't think anybody at that time, 95, 96, was going to say give anybody, entertainer, athlete, $100 million contract. So Shaq used that to his advantage, and because the Magic would not put the ball in his court with a really good contract offer, so when they didn't, he could just cling to this pole and got away scot-free. The prime time Shaq.
He ended up coming back to Orlando recently. I forget exactly. It was documented in the 30 for 30 for some sort of Magic celebration. I don't know if it was a number retiring or whatnot. And he got a standing ovation. But have people really forgotten in the community about him sort of just walking out in the middle of the night like Baltimore Colts?
Well, it's still a source of pain, great pain for devoted Magic fans, Shaq leaving. It was the greatest free agent loss in sports history. There's no question about that. Shaq came back for the Magic Hall of Fame. They inducted him into their Hall of Fame, their team Hall of Fame. Why, I have no idea. But, they honored him. Bygones be bygones. Here was a guy who basically wrecked the franchise and set it back years. Magic organization is a class act, and I think they wanted to move on and show Shaq that. Now, there was no standing ovation. There was applause, but it wasn't like he was welcomed back with open arms. I mean, a lot of those people who were there weren't around in 1996 when he left. New season ticket buyers and that kind of thing. But the old time fans, some of the people who had given up their tickets because the team had been up and down, they still remember what he did. So it was a real curious Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, to say the least. So let's fast forward to 2016 here, and Shaq is still affecting this current Magic team. As a few weeks ago, he subtly suggested that Dwight Howard should, entertain the idea of coming back to the Magic. And you're on Shaq's side about this. You recently wrote about this, but at the same time, a few years ago, you published the book Dwightmare. So tell us why Dwight coming back to the Magic Kingdom is a good idea.
Well, if you've seen what's happened since Dwight's left, this team is just a perennial lottery team, and they need something to happen, and they are not guaranteed any kind of free agent signing. So there has been some feelers out there that Dwight would be interested in coming back, and if you're not in the running for any kind of star free agents and you desperately need them, I think Dwight has to be on the list. Now, I don't think the Magic really want that. They don't want to deal with that reality show and everything that has happened to Dwight since he did leave. But let's be honest, you have to start winning some games, and you have to keep people in those seats. Dwight is still an intriguing character, and if you're going to let bygones be bygones with Shaq, I think you can forgive Dwight if he still has some game left. And I think he does. I just think he's been adrift the last few years, going to L.A. with Kobe. That just had disaster written all over it. And then really, he gets Kobe Jr. in Houston with James Harden. So he's been a designated rebounder for the last 3 or 4 years. And the coupling with Shaq, turning Dwight on to Shaq's agent, is very strange. But you have to remember, again, Shaq is a promoter. And that's really the tie between the Magic centers, past and present.
It's an interesting concept that I really hadn't thought of. But, if Dwight has, he's not the same player he used to be, but he's not old by any stretch of the imagination. No. So it could be an interesting fit. I want to thank you for coming on, Brian Schmitz, Orlando Sentinel. You can follow him on Twitter @Magic Insider. Thanks a lot, Brian. So there was Brian Schmitz of the Orlando Sentinel. Very good info. The team, again, like I said before, the team that could have been the Orlando Magic. They seem to have the world by the balls, the NBA world. Shaquille O'Neal was just a peg under Michael Jordan when he was there with the Magic, and Penny was becoming an amazing, amazing point guard. That team, while they did get blown out, swept by the Rockets, in that finals, whatever year it was, 95? Yeah, maybe. 95. You still thought they had a bright future in front of them, but I don't know about the Dwight Howard. Like I mentioned to him, he's got a little left, but is that really? He's going to have a very, very small contract. Not a small contract, but nothing enormous. Who knows how much gas that guy's left in the tank? He's a team killer. Is that really what you want? So staying with the NBA real quick here, we'll go over a few things. Steph Curry obviously injured himself the other day. Falling, slipping. See, it's not as funny as forget. I was going to make a slip and fall and can't get up joke, but when you make it on Twitter and then do it here, it's not the same. But the comment, I want to see what the comment he made. He said, he's pretty confident. He said, "I slipped, I fell, I'm hurt, my team is awesome, the end." Because what happened was the Warriors went on to blow out the Rockets because they have no soul and no heart. And that wasn't even close, and that Steph Curry wasn't even involved in that. So, but he is out for at least 2 weeks with a sprained something, sprained knee. Jesus Christ, you don't even have the injury, Brian. Some sort of knee injury that will keep him out. The MRI was negative, nothing torn, nothing broken. So there's that. The NBA did say goodbye to a few teams. Memphis Grizzlies, goodbye. Reggie Miller is a horse's ass, by the way. Let's talk about this. So he said that the TNT crew could beat the Memphis Grizzlies, which is ridiculous. They're all old, fat, and slow. I think there was some CBS Sports Minute where it broke this down, but there's not a chance in hell. This is almost like the best college team beating the worst NBA team, yada, yada, yada. We'll go through all that shit. Not happening. Then in the Boston game the other day, Boston Hawks on Sunday, he said, Marcus Smart needs to stop shooting threes and go to the basket like he did just there. Why is he shooting threes? Next 2 times down the court, Marcus Smart bangs threes, and Reggie Miller with pathetic excuses trying to save face. It's a little ugly. Listen, Marcus Smart is going to take stupid shots. He's going to take dumb shots. That's what Marcus Smart does. Okay? But he made them. Lost my train. I was just staring at the wall there. That's how engaging I am. I was staring at the wall. What's another team we lost? We said goodbye to the Pistons. And the Cavaliers, well, it was a sweep. The Cavaliers took care of business. It was very close, though. Most of the games, I think, outside of Game 2, all of them were very close. Rookie Stanley Johnson said he was getting in LeBron's head, which is laughable. I don't think anyone can get inside of LeBron's head except LeBron, and sometimes that gets messy. But they move on, so those two teams are eliminated. Goodbye, Grizzlies, and goodbye, Pistons. But there could be some other teams being, I was going to say violated. Well, I hope not. Doesn't sound very pleasant. Eliminated. Are there any teams on the precipice of being eliminated tonight? I'm not sure. So just in case you hear this, let's see. We got, it looks like Oklahoma City could eliminate Dallas. But Mark Cuban said that Russell Westbrook is not a superstar. Oh, who gives a shit? See, that's what I hate about sports sometimes. I mean, that he says that comment, and it's on every fucking website, every headline there. Ooh, he's saying it just to rile shit up. He's stirring the pot, man. Who doesn't think Russell Westbrook is a superstar? Mark Cuban is not that dumb. Come on. You've seen him on Shark Tank. He knows what to invest in and what not to invest in. Come on, it's a level of intelligence. Watch Smart Tank. Yes, Smart Tank on Shark Tank. Come on. What else was I going to talk about the NBA? Might have been it. Well, did you see, not the NBA, but it's basketball. Did you see that 30-year-old in Canada was posing as a 17-year-old basketball player? Now, he looked about 30 years old. He's been arrested. I think it more has to do with some sort of immigration violation. But, I mean, this was no Danny Almonte thing. This guy looked 30-something years old. And I'm sure the parents of the other teams thought that African man there, because he was from Africa, he looks middle-aged. And he's complaining about his back and blood pressure. And no, but I mean, that was an old man. So I saw one player that played his team, and he was like, it really pisses me off because that guy dunked on me. Oh, Junior, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. Oh, we're on Twitter. We're talking about all of our. This is how you know the Yankee season is not going well. Sitting here conversing with others on Twitter about which one of the top 10 recent Yankees that we just hate. And the reason we're bringing that up is because Chase Headley, the third baseman with no extra base hits and paid $13 million a year, and it's April 25th, not an extra base hit yet, is terrible. I mean, I think you were able to ascertain all that information on your own, how terrible he is. And the Yankees have been playing like shit. Ivan Nova, he came in the other day. And let's forget, I'm not going to go just Ivan Nova. The offense stinks, all right? They managed to win 2 games last week. It's called a winning streak. That was very quick. That was over as Michael Pineda had a first inning from hell the other day. So the Yankees are this could be a very, very, very quick season. I know you're thinking, wow, Brian, you are really Mr. Negative. It is April 25th, April 26th, whenever you're listening to this. How can you say such a thing? This team stinks, okay? And a lot of the players are older. They're only going to get more beaten down. They can't score, okay? And they play some good teams coming up. They're playing Boston. They're playing Kansas City. Who are they playing? They're playing the Rangers as we speak. I mean, these are teams, they have a disastrous road trip here. This could get bad ugly. A team that's not good enough to get out of this enormous hole. This could be, give me Comcast. I want Comcast. I've already contacted Frontier and I said I want Comcast. I sent a direct message. There's been nothing. I wonder how many disgruntled Yankee fans have direct messaged Frontier on on Twitter and said, please remove the Yes Network from my cable subscription. Just be sympathetic. Be sincere. Oh, God. So, I think that's the podcast. Well, what else? There's some few other things I wanted to bring up. I got to give credit to the Mets. The Mets are looking good. They're just banging out home runs like it's going out of style. They are going out of style. It seems like every day another guy's hitting another. Michael Conforto just hit another one, and Lucas Duda seems to be on a tear. So, give credit to the Mets. This is what they were supposed to be doing, by the way, too. So, just keep that in mind. They look good. They look very, very, very good. So, and Jake Arrieta took on a Twitter troll. Well, he didn't take on a Twitter troll. Got another no-hitter, and well, the internet roasted that guy for making fun of him about 4 years ago. 3 years ago. So you already know this. I'm sort of just rambling out at the end of this podcast. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about? You know, I mentioned on Twitter I had a number and people wanted to leave voicemails if you could. And Mike from New Haven McMongo 99 did. However, I thought it was going to be a seamless process to actually put the voicemail on the podcast. That's still a work in progress. So I apologize to them. But if anyone, no, I'm not going to, no, don't do that, Brian, because then you have more people calling. You won't be able to put it on. So nice words from Mike in New Haven. So I much appreciate it. Yeah, all the New Haven guys, we're just sitting here stroking our own ego. That's what we do. So next, later this week on the Thursday Talk, now we're going to go a different direction. This is not a sports media person. Very difficult person to get in contact with. I have a lot of negotiations, a lot of I'll get back to you, my people will get back to you, you know, a lot of very, very difficult. But I was able to get him. And this guy's big. It's my father, okay? So if you think I'm negative about the Yankees, where do you get this guy on? So he'll have all sorts of stories of his interesting life, you know, running cigarettes up the coast, UFOs, things like that. It should be a good time. So it's his 70th birthday. So I think he's earned it was just his 70th birthday last week. So I think he's earned a spot on the Red Ticket Blues podcast. So we'll talk some Yankees, and he won't be happy. I mean, again, you think I have a short fuse with this team. I'm saying this team is done on April 25th. Wait till you meet Ken Buckley. Yeah. Get even worse. So remember, you can always listen to the show on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. I appreciate everyone listening. It's wonderful to always get feedback too. Tell me what works. Tell me what doesn't. There shouldn't be anything what doesn't. I'm very, very sensitive about criticism. I'm joking. Tell me everything. Somebody told me the other day sounded like the music sounded like what is it? Dave Matthews Band's Nuts and being in a vice, something like that, which I have been thinking about the music, honestly. And it wasn't even just that tweet. I've been thinking maybe something a little more intense, something like that. What do you guys think? No? Yes? Like, leave it the way it is? Does it sound phony? Not phony. Does it sound, just, whatever. Talk about a rambling podcast. End this thing, Brian. Remember, you can find all these podcasts and subscribe. And the quickest way to do that is on iTunes and Stitcher, YouTube, all that stuff, like I said before. Like the show, subscribe, and remember to leave a review. It helps the show get more exposure. And it's only a few minutes of your time. Come on. Just stop. You've been waiting long enough. Just do it. Do it. All right, with all that being said, I'm out of here.